World, the Oakland Story Slam. I could go on and on. And she also has an upcoming one-woman solo show called The Life of Debauchery. And that sounds very interesting. So will you please put that in the chat later so we can look at that?
All right.
All right. Please welcome Claire. Thank you.
All right. Well, this is a true story. And I know it's true because my neighbor's brother-in-law heard it from his yoga teacher who had a twin sister who knew Larry's mother. About 5 years ago, a UC Berkeley student named Larry was feeling kind of lonely, and his buddy invited him to a big party on Fraternity Road near UC Berkeley. And the buddy says, hey, you know, there's going to be a bunch of medical students and they have the best drugs. You want to go? Hell yes, Larry says. And at the party, there was a lot of medical students and they were going full blast. Now, Larry himself is a little shy, so he was attracted to a pretty young woman standing by herself in a yellow granny dress. And he was smitten because she was quite lovely. Larry mustered up his courage and introduced himself. Hi, my name's Larry. What's yours? And started a conversation with Susan. They had a lot of fun talking. And Larry finally said, well, how about we take a ride to Grizzly Peak in the Berkeley Hills? Sure, she said. Now, as they're driving up the hills, Susan comments, you know you're a student. How can you afford this beautiful red Corvette? Well, it's a funny story that I needed a car last year and I saw an ad in Craigslist. It said Corvette, low mileage, bright red, $65. Now I was sure that was a mistake, but I called anyway. And the woman said, no, that's correct. Come on over. And I got in the car, went over, and the car was spotless. I drove it and it just purred. I quickly gave her the $65 and she signed the papers. But before I left, I had to ask her, what is wrong with the car? How could you sell it for that price? And she smiled. My husband of 30 years left me for a woman, a bimbo, half his age. And they ran off to the Caribbean to live the high life. But the high life doesn't run cheap. He sent me an email and said, I need money. Would you please sell my car and send me the money? This $65, that's going to him and the bimbo. Now, by then, Susan and Larry had pulled up to the lookout point and parked the car. And there was a full moon that night, and it illuminated the whole San Francisco Bay, and you could see the San Francisco buildings glowing in the night. And it was a little cold, so Larry gave Susan his old, worn leather jacket. And they turned on the radio, and Susan found an oldie station and turned on a Eagles song, Hotel California. And they snuggled a bit, and just as he was leaning in for the kiss, suddenly a safety alert blares on the radio. A dangerous mental patient broke out of county hospital for the criminally insane. Last seen in the Berkeley Hills. The patient had killed an entire family with a knife, and he has only one hand. The other one is a hook. Consider him armed, at least one, and dangerous. Please stay inside, it warns. Now, Susan, she's frightened. I think I hear something. Are the doors locked? Can we go? I'm not feeling good. And Larry says, sure. And they peel out. Where do you live? Down at Cedar Street at Milvia, in that big gray house. So they head down the hill on Cedar. But suddenly, at Shattuck, a big black SUV runs a light and almost hits them. Now, Larry is really shaken and he pulls over to make sure that Susan's okay. But she's not there. She's not anywhere. She's disappeared. Larry goes back to the party. Maybe she's playing a joke. This is a prank. Maybe she's at the party. But he doesn't find her at the party. And he sits down and have a few drinks with the medical students. And they're really having a good time. And they're pulling a special bottle out from behind the bar and passing it around. The next thing Larry knows, it's morning. And he's lying in a tub filled with ice. He's a little groggy, but he sees a lipstick message on the mirror in the bathroom, and it says, call 911. And somebody had kindly left his phone on the edge of the tub. He calls her. The operator hears what happened. Oh, honey, stay right there. Don't move. I'm sending the paramedics right now. Have you been in a party with medical students? I've seen this before, darling. You were drugged, and you probably had a kidney removed. There is a big black market on organs, and medical students pay for their tuition that way. Well, indeed, Larry had lost a kidney, and he had to spend a few days in the hospital. But when he got out, he was still concerned about Susan. You know, did he get dumped? Was she ghosting him, or did something really bad happen to her? He went back to his red Corvette that he had left parked near the party. And he sees something hanging on the passenger door handle. It's my God, it's a hook. It's a bloody hook. He pulls it and he throws it off into the bushes. Now, Larry is more worried than ever about what happened to Susan. He decides to drive to the house, the big gray house at Cedar and Milvia. And I met a girl named Susan a few days ago at a party, and she said she lived here. She disappeared when I was driving her home, and I'm worried about her. Is she here? Old man shook his head. Son, I've been waiting for you. This happens every year. Someone comes and tells me the same story. In fact, Susan died in 1982 on the way home from a frat party, and she never made it home. There was a big car accident at the corner of Cedar and Shadow. Every year since, someone comes to ask about her after meeting her at a party. If you're interested, she's buried at the Mountain View Cemetery near the pond. I'm really sorry, young man. He closed the door. Larry is really baffled. How can that be? So, not believing, he decides to go to the cemetery. And it's a beautiful park-like setting, trees, landscape. And he goes and parks by the pond, and he looks around, and up a gravel path, he sees a grave that caught his eye. And he stops. The grave had the name Susan Carter, 1964 to 1982. And on the headstone was Larry's worn leather jacket. Now, like I said, this is 100% completely true story. And if anybody asks where you heard it, my neighbor's brother-in-law heard it from his yoga teacher who had a twin sister who knew Larry's mother. And now you heard it from me, and I wouldn't lie to you. Thank you.
Nice.